Hi, welcome back. We are on episode 19. We're moving along here, aren't we?
We're moving along, yeah. I think there will be about probably 25 episodes for that first section.
Oh.
For the first book.
For the first book.
For the first book,
So you're saying
yes.
we have 6 more
Probably
videos?
5 or 6 more episodes, yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, great.
And that's going to be even more and more interesting as we move along.
Yes, well, can't wait to hear.
So what I just wanted to say about episode 19 is that we're going to be exploring a lot of the thoughts and the thinking and the meditation that Yeshua is doing. Okay? And I think it's important. There are a few things happening in this episode, but it's going to be mostly, personal feelings and thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. So, as you know, as our audience may recall, Yeshua is now living in Yenagar, which is the current city of Puri in India.
Right.
And he's very happy.
Oh,
yeah, I think he finds, the perfect balance there. He feels like he's being home, which is a rare sensation for a being like him,
right,
who has been studying and traveling
right,
most of his life,
Right. So he kind of let his hair down.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Besides studying and learning about Brahmanism with the Lamaas, he also does a lot of hands-on healing. And he's now accepting also inside him this incredible healing power which is flowing through his hands and through his body.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty miraculous.
It is very miraculous, yes. So, and the locals, the Hindus, are also accepting him a lot, and the healing sessions are most welcome. They are not. Nobody talks about miracles or magic. They just welcome the stuff. They are used to spontaneous healing, and this is all very well accepted. Nobody's complaining about it.
Yeah, nobody's looking at him strangely or that he's possessed by something or something.
There is
that's good.
No such things in India.
Right. They're just grateful.
And Yeshua loves it because he doesn't have to justify himself or explain what he's doing,
Right.
People are just welcoming whatever he's giving them.
Okay, beautiful.
And when Haun, the creator, is invoked, the locals also are accepting it as another divinity. They're not complaining.
Right.
They are not talking about, sacrilege, what are you talking about?
Right.
They're just accepting everything he's coming with. And it basically brings the Yeshua to think about what kind of contrast the Hindu or the Hinduism is having with the Hebraic religion. Yeah. I mean, where he's coming from, the people were just pushing and they were trying to exclude and reject all other forms of divine influences and divine thinking. So this is also something that he really enjoys with the locals from Puri. And as I mentioned, he's a very good student of Lamaas, and he's studying the Brahmanism, and he's trying also to synthesize and simplify all the spiritual approaches, and that's one of his goals in his life is, make it simple so that with rightness, precision, strength, and clarity, everybody can understand what he's trying to convey, the message he's trying to convey.
Right.
And his goal is really to simplify a great number of concepts to their simplest expression. And I kind of agree with him because, when you think about all the religions, I think it's overcomplicated to give you the impression that you need an intermediary between you and God, which is nonsense.
Right.
I think people have to accept and understand that. And
as best as they can.
As best as they can. Yeah, of course, yeah. And so one day, Master Lamaas, his teacher, asked Yeshua, are you trying to build a new faith? Is it to benefit your people? That's what he's asking Yeshua.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
And Yeshua responds, my people, the more time I spend here, the less I feel that I am linked to the country where I was born.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he said to Lamaas, my people is everywhere. It is humankind at large. As far as creating a new face, no. I simply want to build bridges between all the existing faiths.
Oh.
That was it.
What a great idea.
Yes, exactly. Instead of creating something new, why not link and show
or putting up walls and
showing the similarities between the different religions,
and wars and everything else that happens.
And Yeshua adds at the end, in fact, those bridges already exist. They are not used because they are hidden. Hidden by the difference of languages and the physical distances. But mostly because the human being has restricted and restrained himself far too much.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. That's why,
nothing's changed.
Nothing has changed 2,000 years later, and it's the same
I mean,
story.
I think some things have changed, obviously, but not enough.
No, I don't think it has changed in proportion of the evolving of the humankind,
And with the message that he was trying to convey here and bring to us and dying on the cross and, being horrifically sacrificed and still we don't have that bridge.
Yeah. So Yeshua continues and tells, Master Lamaas, I see these limitations as a disease of the soul. I mean, for Yeshua, it is not something that has been invented. He sees it as a disease. So he says, I want to heal that and to teach humans to open their arms and their hearts. And this is, the most important message of his life is, opening your hearts and your arms. And Lamaas respond, all the riches, the wise people and the masters of all times have tried such thing, Even Lord Gautama, the awakened, all the way to Zarathustra, with his powerful voice that influenced our faith and rituals in India. So our audience may not know it, but Zarathustra also influenced quite a lot the Hinduism.
Okay.
And there are still in India certain groups who are following the Mazdaism, the Zarathustra, religion, and so this is still very active. And so Lamaas has a strange question. He looks at Yeshua. He says, "Have you studied Zarathustra, Yeshua?"
Well, maybe.
And Yeshua, trying to avoid the discussion,
right?
As our audience may remember. In a previous lifetime, Yeshua was Zarathustra. Okay, so he says, "Yeah, I have studied him. I've heard about him, Master Lamaas." And Lamaas says, "Oh, really? Then we will have to talk about it."
Darn, he's saying.
And fortunately, Yeshua is saved by the bell of the temple calling for a ceremony, so he doesn't have to get into the details of Zarathustra. And again, to summarize what we said, the goal of Yeshua is to simplify the interactions with the divine. That is his first priority in this fractured and divided world that we have today, and that was present 2,000 years ago, and is still very prevalent today. And in his opinion, there is only one language, which is the sacred language. So, we have, in the Hinduism, you have Brahma, Prajapati, which is the creator. Then you have Shiva, Shankara, which is the breath, destroying and rebuilding, all the same at the same time. And then the third aspect is Vishnu, Jagannatha, which is the cyclical expression among humankind. So it's interesting to see that even in the Hinduism, we have some kind of trinity also, right?
That's true.
Yeah, Brahma, Shiva, Vishnu. And for Yeshua, that trinity was not enough for him. He wanted to teach what is beyond this construction of three poles, And this construction has been created by the human mind.
Right.
It is not a reality in itself. in the Christian religion, we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, right?
Right.
Again, a construction totally created by the Roman Catholic Church, right?
Right.
It has no bearing.
Right.
But that's what people accept.
Right.
And, Yeshua being someone who likes to dive deeper, is always meditating. And he's always meditating on the unknown, the unreachable, the undescribable, as he calls it. The work of Shruti, as he calls it, the divine intelligence. And what can I say? As we will see, the universe has a plans for Yeshua, more down to earth plans. So one morning, as he was achieving the healing of a very bad wound, his attention is drawn to a small crowd shouting and fighting. I guess this was quite common over there at that time. So 3 men are fighting, and the crowd is gathered around them, and they are insulting a young woman.
Oh.
So the crowd is insulting the young woman.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And someone explained to Yeshua, he's coming and he sees that big gathering and he's wondering what's going on. So someone explained to him, Yeshua, that is always the same as a man starts loving a woman from a different caste.
Oh.
The woman loves him too, but the families do not accept it. Then the woman is being insulted and the family starts fighting.
Oh, no.
It's very simple.
Very simple.
The person says to Yeshua, once they are finished fighting, then you will be able to heal them.
Let them duke it out. And then
Let them destroy themselves.
Oh, my goodness.
Then you can heal their wounds.
Oh, my goodness.
So Yeshua, again, cannot stand that brutality. And as our audience knows it, he's absolutely against the caste system. This is not something he can even accept.
It's hard to accept. Although there are caste systems everywhere.
There is, yes, there are caste systems even in our so-called Western world. Yes, yes. Yeah, we know that.
It's not as
pronounced
as there.
Again, seeing that discords and the brutality which is taking place, he has this impetus to intervene, okay? And his tone, the power of his voice, and his stature are freezing the fighters. Again, I would like to remember the audience that he's much taller than the average Indian. Right. And his tone, his voice is very powerful. So he's saying to the crowd, so what is going on? What is so important? The way I understand it, it is love which is the source of all this animosity. Love is the source of this brutality. Right? The insult, the blows and everything, right?
Can you imagine that? Seriously.
This
is two people who love each other.
Right. This is so strange. When I see you all making offerings and mantras in the temples, I have the impression that you all belong to one people. And here suddenly I only see blind and deaf people. You believe you're coming from different parents, when in fact you only have one father with a capital F, right?
Well, he was trying to teach oneness, probably not at the right time, but...
Yeah, unfortunately the crowd does not understand his words, as most humans are still way too dense, to accept common and good sense.
Right.
So at least, his intervention has the effect of separating the fighters, and the crowd literally spreads and goes away, and they cannot even sustain the glance of his eyes. He's looking at the people, and they're actually...
They're probably afraid they're going to burn up or something.
They're afraid of his glance.
I wouldn't want Yeshua mad at me.
And Yeshua noticed, the Indian lady Aruni under a porch, and she leaves also after a little while, She does not want to stay.
She leaves as well.
So Aruni is actually a problem because Yeshua sees her very often, on a regular basis. But she's always shy, and interestingly, Yeshua finds his behavior very charming.
Yeah.
Go figure. He doesn't want to be with her, but he finds her very charming. Yeah. So after this incident in the marketplace, Yeshua goes back to the temple, and Lamaas, his master, talks to him. And as a priest, have told Lamaas about Yeshua's intervention. And Lamaas tries to warn Yeshua to not intervene in this kind of dispute and to be very careful, right? About what he says, because the fact that a Brahmin like him, wearing the yellow and orange dress,
right,
and being part of this event makes everybody very uneasy.
Yeah.
They don't understand that. None of the other priests or Brahmin would do such a thing.
They wouldn't intervene because they know what the
exactly because they know the background, they know the
right.
system and everything. So
right.
And so Lamaas is telling Yeshua, you're attacking the architecture and the foundation of this country and the culture. And this architecture has been around for millennia. And is it really your task to change it, Do you really have to do that? So again, Yeshua, he says, please be very prudent.
He's probably worried about
yeah.
him. Yeah. Because people aren't going to like that.
Right. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, Yeshua is very sad, and he's getting into some kind of meditation again, invoking his father, Awun, and many thoughts are coming to his mind, and we're going to share some of those thoughts with the audience here. So one of them is, is it right to dissociate the call of spirit from the weight of every day's life, Do you have to make it so different that on one side you have the spiritual and the religious beliefs, right?
Right.
And on the other hand, you have the life, which is not in harmony with what you're learning from the scripture, right?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
Yeah. So for him, again, the caste systems is totally incompatible with the enlightened and incredible teachings left by the rishis in the Vedas, People reading the Vedas, and unfortunately, the vast majority of the people are not reading the Vedas.
Is it because they can't read, or is it...
Well, who knows? It's probably way too complicated, It's written in Sanskrit.
Right.
So
it's probably...
most people cannot read, could not, and still today cannot read Sanskrit easily.
Right.
So, there was probably no translation.
No translation.
Yeah, available. So, Yeshua is also thinking, is it right to accept such an incoherence? Is it okay to allow such injustice and suffering? Again, the caste systems versus what could be your life without it,
Right.
Is it, again, he's thinking also about all the work he's doing in the streets, Is it right to heal the wounds of the physical body but not touch the wounds of the souls? Because
right.
obviously all the locals are welcoming the physical repairs, right?
Right, exactly.
The healing of the physical wounds. But they don't want him to touch any of their
emotional
beliefs and tradition and culture,
right.
yeah. And again, it is the subtle world and the dense world are contradicting themselves immensely. And so this is something that he does not understand. So for Yeshua, curing, healing is an occasion to teach and speak of the love of our Father, the Father of all of us.
Right.
Not the Father of the upper caste and forget about the lower caste, right?
I know.
Yeah, so Yeshua understands, what Lamaas is telling him, but was it really necessary to accept such separation, in order to not disturb the old established order?
Right.
Yeah.
People don't like change.
No, obviously they don't, yeah. And nothing has changed.
Especially if it doesn't benefit the ones that
that are
put
in
it
control.
in place or control, right?
Yeah. And Yeshua knew the origin of such separation and caste systems. And strangely interesting, it's kind of interesting, it is actually taught by certain priests.
Oh.
So under the guise of karma,
Oh, okay.
So basically, in a nutshell, if you have been doing bad things in a lifetime, you're going to come back in a low caste, in one of the lower caste, so you can suffer from what you've done in a previous lifetime. So this is what the priests and the Brahmin are teaching.
So that's why you can't mix it up. Not that, not like somebody who's coming a little bit more elevated can help the person of the lower, right? They get together.
No, that doesn't work. Yeah.
No, let's just put the bad.
But Yeshua finds his reasoning, extremely infantile, and he realized that this is reducing life to some kind of a childish theatrical farce, and he realized that in India, in this part of India, balance is actually finding its source with disharmony. Because of the lack of harmony between the caste and the people,
right?
Then they can find some kind of balance and some kind of modus operandi, which is very interesting. And so, coming back from some ritual, Lamaas find Yeshua in meditation, thinking about all the stuff we convey to you, and he takes him into his arms. And that touches Yeshua immensely,
Gives him a big hug.
Right.
He needed a bear hug.
Nobody besides his mother Miriam, has ever done that. And again, Lamaas repeats, Yeshua, please be prudent, be careful.
Right.
And so
he just doesn't know Yeshua, does he?
No. No, he doesn't know the incredible energy which is flowing through him. Yeah. So he's now a fully grown man. He's 21 years old. He has a light brown beard and long hair. His shoulders are wide, and he's, as we mentioned, much taller than the average people. And when he's wearing his yellow-orange robe among the people, he's commanding a lot of respect.
He really stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some, and he's rejecting also other people, who don't like him. And
they probably feel intimidation. And
could
who's
be.
this stranger coming
plus
in?
he's not really from their culture, right?
Yeah.
He's like an added piece,
Yeah.
So one day, a Brahmin in the temple where he's staying, is whispering into his ears. He says, "Swami, I think you're starting to disturb around here." So,
Poor Yeshua.
Poor Yeshua, yeah. So following that comment, Lamaas invites that Brahmin and Yeshua, and they sit and they talk a little bit, They have a discussion. And the Brahmin says to Yeshua, so what is disturbing Yeshua is the fact that you are expressing a notion of freedom for which nobody is ready yet.
It's true.
You're moving too far, too fast, People are not ready.
The teacher's there, but the people aren't ready.
No.
Yeah.
Not only into what you are saying, but also what you are doing. All this healing, your presence.
It's almost like he's interfering with their life path.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the Brahmin tell to Yeshua, look at what comes out of your hands. We know you are not the first one to have this capacity, to be capable of that. There are masters in the north, in the Himalayas, who can do the same. But the most disturbing for us is this strange authority that emanates from you and that resides inside you. Yeah. They found
he probably doesn't realize it, but people see it and feel it.
Yes.
That energy. And
So that is an authority that forces the locals, to listen to things that they should be listening to, but that they do not want to listen to.
Right. They're not ready.
Yeah, they're not ready.
That's just it.
And so the Brahmin continues and say, all this is causing jealousy and fear among the residents of the temple, not only among the people outside, but also within the temple, among the priests and the Brahmins.
So he's just a big trigger everywhere he went.
Yes.
Right?
And he also tells Yeshua, this is causing some problems with the higher castes, who are the warriors, the chiefs, and the people in charge of the administration.
The controllers.
The controllers, yeah. So overall, Yeshua is very saddened by this discussion, as he feels that he needs to apologize for being what he is.
Right.
He's definitely a change, a vector of energy, which is bringing a lot of changes.
Right.
But again, as it will be in the future of his life, people are just not ready.
They're not ready. They don't understand it.
And then, the other issue he has, and we mentioned that, then there is Aruni, the young Indian lady, who is literally invading his life more and more.
Oh.
So, in order to be with him, she's inventing all kind of ailments among many of her family members.
Gosh.
So Yeshua basically has to follow her, on a regular basis and visit such and such cousin and aunt and grandfather and whatever.
He stubbed his toe, you need to come.
Exactly. And you realize, those people are not sick,
Right.
They are just pretending. So he's trying to push her back in a gentle way.
Right.
He knows that she's not supposed to be with him, by his side in this lifetime. So it's kind of fortunately, the universe has a plan, and the presence of Aruni is decreasing every day.
Okay.
And Yeshua hear that she's finally going to get married with a fisherman of her caste. Okay, so this is again.
Is that a very low caste?
We will see about it.
Okay.
It's not one of the highest, yeah.
They provide food. They shouldn't be that low of a caste. I'm happy to see the fishermen.
Yeah. So now talking back on the healing capabilities of Yeshua, so his hands are now producing what is actually required to heal his patients. So what is coming out of the palm of his hands can be either swallowed and other type of
ointment of some kind.
Yeah, it can be used as a cream or ointment.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it is personalized for each person that is healing. The right
That's so amazing.
medicine,
Right.
is coming out of his hands. And one morning he's also doing some exercises, and a flat pebble, a flat rock, comes into his hands.
Oh.
And interestingly, that flat pebble has veins, and there is some kind of drawing on it, and it reminds him of the star with the 8 spokes, the symbol of Solomon.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's wondering if this manifestation is a message from Elohim. At first, picture it yourself, right? You just generated a pebble with a drawing on it, wondering, okay, where is this coming from? And then he realized that before manifesting it, he was thinking about that.
Oh.
He was thinking about the symbol, and basically that symbol was created and depicted.
He has powerful thoughts, doesn't he?
Depicted on a piece of stone, And the most important, is to be sure about what you're doing without any doubt.
Right. Yeah, have real confidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so Yeshua goes outside. He gets in the street of Yenagar, and he walks into. He decided to leave the city a little bit. He needs to meditate, and be with himself. Get
out of Dodge for a little bit.
Get out of Dodge, yeah. And we have seen that before. He's I wouldn't say he's a loner, but he needs his own time in connection with his creator.
Right.
He doesn't like to be surrounded by people too much. Yeah. And he goes into a rice field, and he has an incredible experience. And so we're going to describe a little bit what he's doing and what his experience is about. And so he's actually calling inside him the flesh, the light, the verb, the motion, the gift, and the remembrance of unity.
Okay.
So all the things that could seem very esoteric, to us, but this is what he's doing. And at one point, he quits his body. Okay. And
he quits his body.
Yes.
What do you mean?
He goes into his consciousness gets outside of his body, like he does when he travels into
the astral plane.
The astral plane.
But he's not going to the astral plane.
No,
he's just kind of out of body.
Yeah, he's out of the body. Yeah.
Okay.
And there are some wild cows around him which are grazing, and one of them gets close to him, and with the breath, he can, his body can feel the warm breath of the cow from behind his
But he
neck.
can't move because he's somewhere else.
He knows that
Yeah,
it's not going
right.
to be.
That's
So
funny.
he sees his body from a vantage point, probably like 10 or 20 meters above him, and he admires all the nadis, the energy circulating through them, which is the pranic energy, the prana, right? And also all the wheels which are distributed in his back. And we call those chakras.
Oh, okay.
I think we are quite familiar with that notion, right?
Right.
The nadis are the equivalent of the veins and the arteries for the energetic body,
Right.
etheric body, right?
Right.
And at that time, they didn't use the term chakras. They called those wheels or temples.
Oh,
That's that's how they describe them, yeah. And so this meditation, which is very powerful, is admiring the divine work taking place to keep his vehicle alive, and in good health.
Oh, all our vehicles.
Yeah,
right?
all the vehicles.
I mean, we are just miraculous. We really are
Oh, yeah,
miraculous.
absolutely.
Our
yeah,
human
yeah.
body.
And he's full of gratitude for this understanding and realization. And I wish that every human being would be given a chance to see that,
Right.
and realize that we are not simply physical cells and flesh,
Right.
but that we are before all a sum of energetic construction.
Right.
Yeah. And he's also realizing, in addition to seeing the energetic body from above, he's also realizing that the fire of Zarathustra and the silent confidence of Sananda are also coming back to him.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
Nice.
he can see that. And we could say that this experience was a major phase of integration for Yeshua. He's integrating some new knowledge
Right.
and some new realization.
Probably getting some downloads too.
Oh, most likely, yeah. And let's see. So again, he's thinking also about this capability that he has to create with his hands small objects, And the key again is to ask without any hint of doubt.
Right.
You have to be absolutely convinced that it's going to happen.
Right. You have to really believe that you are
And that's how you create it.
that miraculous being.
Yeah. And of course, Yeshua is not going to use that capability very often, and he keeps it very secret and inside him. And he uses it only when absolutely necessary, when he's healing people.
Okay.
Yeah. And our audience may recall that in a previous lifetime when he was Zarathustra, he was using that on a large scale.
Right.
And that the crowd following him started basically taking him as a magician because they were more interested by what he was producing in his hands
Right.
than what he was saying. So to avoid that, in the future of his lifetime, and we will talk again about what he's capable of creating, he will use it very, very,
Discreetly.
very discreetly. Yeah. Yeah. So again, because of these issues and what happened with the crowd and everything, for a long time, Yeshua is going to stay inside the walls of the great temple. But little by little, he wants to get out.
He wants everybody to kind of cool down.
Yes,
He needed to
exactly.
regroup within himself and
Yeah, I think you summarized it very well, yeah. And he wants to start again his healing work. I'm sure there are a lot of people who need attention. So. And he tries to teach, but he realizes that the majority of people do not want to be disturbed in their beliefs, They are not eager to learn anything new. They just want to have their physical body fixed.
So he wanted to teach them healing work?
Yeah, because while he's healing, he likes also to talk to them
Right.
and talk to them about the Creator, Hawun, and the Father of all. And this is not receiving a lot of attention and interest from the people. Yeah.
Okay.
So unfortunately, yeah. So one morning he sees Aruni, our little Indian lady. She's now married and she has 2 children.
Oh my
So,
gosh,
you
well,
know,
that happened fast.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot
Okay,
of time.
so time has passed. It took a
has
lot
passed,
of time to go inside and
Yeah,
okay.
I want the audience to realize that he stayed 5 years with Lamaas
Oh,
in
okay.
Puri, okay?
Okay.
In the city of Puri. 5 years.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a long time, yeah. So, and Aruni is a daughter of a fisherman, and she has been married to a fisherman, okay? And she could, the audience may remember that she was selling herbs and spices before.
Right.
And now, because she's a part of the fisherman's subcaste, she can no longer sell with the herbs and the spice
Is that a lower caste or
market.
something?
No, it's not a lower caste. They are part
Just
of
a
the same
different
caste, but it's a different
subset.
subcaste.
Okay.
You have on one side the herb specialist or the sellers, the spice and herbs, and then you have the fish. You know. And
Okay.
so she has to move to another market, basically.
Right.
And again, you know, Yeshua is very hurt by this division and rejection. And I think it affects him even more because he likes Aruni, even though he's not supposed to be with her or she's not supposed to be with him.
Right.
He still has some attraction and some you know, care for her.
I'm sure.
And so at one point, still, you know, on the same day, he sees an old man and an old woman sitting against a wall. And he noticed that they are very poor. They are suffering from malnutrition. And like, you know, we see some, you know, in the old pictures of Hindus, you see them, they are basically bones and skin, right?
Yeah.
And the hand of the woman are swollen and completely infected. I mean, it's horrible. Yeah. So he kneels in front of them and starts healing the woman. And someone in the crowd says, "Leave them, Swami, leave them. Don't touch them. They are impure."
Oh boy.
These two, nobody touches them. To each its own. Okay?
Yeah, that's their karma. Let them suffer.
Yeah. So, you know, hearing that, Yeshua gets up and faced a small group who was talking to him. And among them is the brother of Aruni, a fisherman, of course. And so Yeshua asks, you know, why is that? Well, and the brother of Aruni responds, well, they are impure. Everybody knows it. They are full of the stench of burned wood and cadavers, right?
Oh my gosh.
They always worked at the cremation.
Oh.
Their entire family is like them. So, you know, you cannot do anything with them.
So sad.
So, I guess we can see here again, you know, the illustration of the caste system, right?
Right.
The fishermen are above the people who are taking care of the cremation, right?
Some horrible, you know, it's not exactly the best job in the world.
Right. I mean, they are definitely the lowest caste, you know, the impure, the untouchable. And so Yeshua reacts again violently into this, and he feels the energy go through his body again, you know, the energy of maybe acoustic energy coming through him and saying, okay, you know, I cannot stand that. Right. And so he started responding to the crowd and the group of fishermen. And the crowd actually starts screaming after him. Yeah, they are responding. And some are even trying to push him physically. You know, despite his yellow stature and yellow robe, you know. And they tell him to go away and to go back to his country. They don't want to see him anymore.
Oh, okay. Guess they want him to assimilate a little bit better.
Yeah. So you see how the importance and the notion of caste is so prevalent and so entrenched in their culture, yeah. And so after a while, fortunately, the crowd calms down and disappears. And when Yeshua returns to the temple, he tells the story to Lamaas. And Lamaas responds, you know, well, there is nothing to be done because what you are saying is going through you. It has to come out. Yeah. You know, people are not ready to receive it, but it has to come out.
I know. I know. It's not easy.
Yeshua realized that his words are accepted by some people, but not the majority.
Right.
And he realized that most men and women will be supportive, even passively, of their aggressors.
Right.
So, you know, the crowd and the people will be in favor of the caste system, you know,
Right.
even though they're all suffering from it.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, Stockholm syndrome, exactly. Right. They rather side with the powers and the traditions instead of taking the defense.
I guess because of what they know, right?
Of those who are aggressed, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sad.
Yeah. As you said, it's definitely the Stockholm syndrome,
No.
which is also still so prevalent in our modern world. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
There's
kind
no
of
empathy.
no, it's kind of it's very sad.
It is sad.
And you should also realize that all the sacred and religious texts never talk about courage and cowardness. In other words, about the nature of the engagement into actions. Yeah, you never hear that.
No.
They never tell you to do this or that, or to not do this or to not do that. Right. It's
Right.
always very nebulous.
Right.
But it has very few recipes for everyday's life. Yeah. So,
or even accepting anything changing.
Yes, yeah. So again, our poor Yeshua, is confined to the temple because you realize that outside is a dangerous place.
Right, yeah. They're not going to be happy with them.
After a few days and weeks, he finally gets out and he spends some time outside and he wants to go back to the ocean, and watch the waves and everything. So for him, it's very, very important. And so the days goes by with no more problem. So he's very happy. In the evening, he's used to go outside in the gardens of the temple. And usually what they do, they start big fires, in some kind of fire pit. Right. And that brings some light and warmth, to the temple. And so he looks at one of the large bronze pit where a fire is being maintained. Is very active for the rituals. And this is something that he loves to do because, again, watching the flames is kind of mesmerizing. Right.
We all like
that. It allows you to meditate and think about other things, right?
Right.
And suddenly behind him, he hears multiple bare footsteps running to him. Oh. And he does not have the time to turn back. And he's violently pushed into the fire pit. So his entire left side falls into the embers and the flames.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So with an incredible reflex, he seizes a solid ledge with his right hand that then materialized out of nowhere.
Of course, out of nowhere.
And he's able to pull himself out of the pit.
Oh my gosh.
Otherwise he could not have done it.
He would have been burned to death.
He would have been burned to death, yeah. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he fell on the floor and he watched 3 to 4 figures running away. So we want the audience to understand that this is within the confines of the temples at night.
Right.
And these aggressors are nothing else than other priests.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. It's important to realize that. These are not people who came from outside. They are priests
They were in there.
from the temple who do not like what he's doing and do not like his message.
I would say that's bad karma. So maybe they're the ones going to be kneeling down.
They're going to be coming back in the lowest caste, yeah. Probably in the cremation.
And with no empathy from anybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he gets up, he managed to get up and realize that he's deeply burnt, and he dragged himself to Lamaas' room. And Lamaas understands immediately what happened, They tried to kill him.
Yeah.
And in the most horrible way, basically, right? And so Lamaas, prepares some mud with clay and herbs, and he covers delicately all the numerous wounds and burns of Yeshua, And the pain is absolutely atrocious.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like
it's excruciating.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You think you burn your finger and you're like...
think about it. His whole left side is burnt,
Gosh.
And Yeshua is trying to control the pain by using some breathing techniques that he learned, in the past, but it's still very, very difficult. And exhausted, Lamaas is finally falling asleep, and he's been, for him it's just terrible because he understands that the author of the murder are from the temple. So this is not something that he can accept very easily. Let's remind the audience that he is the great master.
He's
of
living
that temple.
among murdering priests.
Exactly.
Not a good warm fuzzy feeling.
So Yeshua during the night is suffering so much that he decides to call Elohim. And for the people who have not followed the previous episodes, I mean, Elohim is an extraterrestrial presence that he met when he was 5 years old in Egypt and then under the Mount Tabor, and which has promised him to always help him in case of dire needs. Okay, I see.
Right.
So
This is a dire need.
Definitely. So after a few minutes, the room is suddenly lit with this very strange light. It's kind of milky light,
Yeah.
And Yeshua, in his comatose condition,
basically,
delirium, sees two hands and some beautiful eyes, full of compassion. So the eyes have the power to remove his pain, take his consciousness away, I guess. And the hands are repairing his burnt flesh. So again, he doesn't see the entire body, okay?
Right.
The room is bathed in this light, and he only sees the hands working on him,
Right.
and the eyes looking at him with a lot of compassion. And finally, Yeshua falls asleep, In the morning, Lamaas wakes up before Yeshua, and he's trying to clean and removing the mud with some water, from the wounds, and perhaps try to replace it with some fresh mud. Yeah. And he realized that all the burnt wounds have disappeared, and that the skin underneath is like a little bit rosy, but perfectly fine.
Oh my gosh. He probably was like, of course.
Yes. And so Lamaas, cries and asks, is it Anahita, right? So Anahita, again, for the people who have not followed our previous episodes, is another impersonation, another name for the Elohim.
Okay.
So is it Anahita, right? Is it our light that came to heal you last night? The light woke me up. Do not say no. I saw it. So I guess Lamaas couldn't see the presence that came to heal Yeshua, but he saw the light in the room.
That's amazing.
So Yeshua responds, Master Lamaas, the light came to heal me, but also showed me where I have to go now. I must go, and I must join the snowy mountains again.
Oh, okay.
So I must basically travel to the Himalayas, and they are waiting for me there.
Oh, okay.
So in our next episode, we will be, I think this episode is long enough, the way it is.
Yeah.
We will be following again another journey of Yeshua when he's leaving the city of Puri, Yenagar.
Yeah.
And he's going to actually be traveling with Lamaas.
Oh, he's going to go with them.
Yeah, the two of them are going to be
nice.
traveling.
Okay,
And we will describe all this in details. Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. What an interesting experience.
Yes.
Poor Yeshua
this
had.
is the end of 5 years in the southeast India, in the city of Yenagar. After, spending 5 years being taught by Lamaas.
Healing and trying to teach people.
Trying to change a little bit, the customs and the culture with not much success.
That's the hardest thing, isn't it? I mean, somebody who comes with these miraculous healings.
Right.
And still, nobody thinks, oh, maybe he has a point, right? Nobody stops to think about that.
I would like to say that of his long stay in Yenagar, in Puri, I think there are still some text,
about his
Indian
visit?
text about his visit, yes,
okay.
about his presence there.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't put in there how they tried to burn him to death, no?
No, I guess that has not been mentioned.
They probably didn't put that in there. Yeah.
But this is one of the rare piece of information we have of his youth, basically.
Okay.
I mean, most of his youth is unknown to anybody. So.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Whew. Okay. Well, Thank you so much for visiting us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.